Hey there, everybody. What's up? It's KingFan701 here. As you can tell, for the last couple of days, my hometown of Birmingham has been holding the 2022 Commonwealth Games, and it's definitely been a very trailblazing, glorious time and history in the making. It's the first time we have ever held it, and you got to admit, we've had some ups and downs and surprises that we never thought could happen. You know, um, But as you know, the big one is basically the fact that England in football finally won the championship and took it back home during this Commonwealth gaming that we've had. And it's been like, what, 20 years or maybe more so since we ever had one. And of course, this was a sweet historic victory that has made everybody in the nation smile. And of course, yours truly, as you can tell, I'm kind of happy as well and with a bit of pride, you know, for Britain as well as for the women of Britain, definitely have left a lasting inspiration, a positive and happy inspiration, and something that we can be proud of. And I, for one, definitely am impressed. I think this is the year that they finally have broken through the glass ceiling and have finally made an impression that not only can men perform well in football, but women can be even better, if not as equally. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this whole victory thing has been fantastic. And I'm just definitely, proud for the players who did their part, who performed like professional, athletes who did superb, you know, in that final round against Germany, the classic of us and them. It was just fantastic. It was how it was meant to be. You know, there was no dirty rivalry. There was no heat. There was no hatred. It was just a clean cut game straight through to the end. And if you want to have my honest opinion, it wouldn't have mattered who won or lost, or when the title was going to be back for. It was just, to me, an enjoyable game. And finally, my country won and brought the title home. But like I said, I look at that whole thing as just from a normal spectative point of view, like a normal, like a normal viewer, not like a fan or a diehard fan of football or whatever. But that's just how I looked at it. And I'm just, very proud. As you can tell by my expression, I'm definitely happy for it. Hey there, Daniel Brooks. Nice to see you. I'd like to put you in, but I'm just getting you some, taking this time off to express my opinions here because I really get a lot of stuff off me. Like I said, I really am happy that England has done what forgive me if you get a lot of heat for saying this, but this was basically the victory that we could have had last year during the darkest of our time when we were suffering just as bad along with other nations during that pandemic. But today, as you know, what a big difference this year has made. 2022 has been a lot more better for our country, mainly for the sporting reasons. And yes, Daniel, you're correct. As Victor Tanzik would say in his stories of war, old Blighty pulled through. Damn right they did. I mean, the whole build-up thing was really a nice anticipation, but to be honest, I wasn't too bothered about the whole way how it went down, but I'm just glad that the celebrations are just going through like there's no tomorrow. And I've got to admit, even though men have done so well in footballing, but not to the level that I see it now anymore, I have to say that the women of footballing in our country have, like I said before, broke through the glass ceiling. They've left an absolutely amazing impression, not just for a nation, but basically for this generation to show that, from what I can tell, women have done it superbly. They basically showed the men of football how it's meant to go down, how you do it, how you play, and how you bring something back home, regardless of what other people might think, regardless of those who, regardless of the negatives of all the people that, criticize a lot of things, regardless. This victory was a very sweet one. I would say it was like a redemption victory, but we've still got the FA Cup to win. That, to me, is what I think our country needs to win for the Men's Football League. And if that turned out well, maybe then, just maybe, England can regain a lot of respect back from me. Because you know how badly we were humiliated and how, of just how much humiliation and disgrace that we became. What broke my pride. If you guys can remember just how upsetting it was, and I still haven't forgiven for that. But this victory alone is something completely different. I'm just so glad to know that we finally took something back. A victory that we could have had last year. But hey, 2022 is a year of healing from what we've had for the last couple of years, and we're on the right direction. Something I foresaw coming. And I'm really am proud. Although, I will say we have a long way to go still. But what I can tell you guys, this is a step in the right direction. And maybe for a new generation and a new era for our nation to play as we did. I mean, this is not, this is more than just the different genders of players. This is beyond the color of your flesh. This is beyond anything that viewers wouldn't understand. This is about how it's meant to be and how you play it. And I gotta say, all this happening on the Commonwealth Games is really, really something. I can sense it and feel that this is such a great time for England. As for me, my personal thoughts, I just think it's just fantastic. I mean, this was a victory heel for myself personally. And I don't usually watch women's football, but in this case, it was just for the reasons. And I'm just really proud, Just like a normal, hey, congratulations, we've won the championship, we've brought it home. Let's all get together and just celebrate, and not that kind of stuff. To me, this is a very positive impression and something that kind of has made me come to realize, not for any wrong reasons, but it's made me come to realize that, even though we men are good, I have to be very, very honest. I think that this event has proven that women in football, no matter what nationality you're in, whether you're an American, if you're German, French, Australian, or Ukrainian for that matter, or for anywhere else in the nations, or even if you're Canadian for that matter, this is a lasting impact that I think everyone can take pride in. And I'm very proud of that. And I do believe that, that the women of football in our country have finally got the recognition they really, really earned. I mean, our nation has already had a great reputation and a recognition, but what I'm trying to get at is that the female side of it all has finally been, embraced and finally been seen that they can be just as good. It's not just about the opposite gender like us. They, on the other hand, have just done tremendous, and I cannot be more happy. As you can tell, I'm very proud. Okay, Daniel Brooks and January, whatever you guys are talking about. What's going on there? I see. Well, for any of you guys who might want to pop in for this, I'll bring some of you in if you'd like to share your thoughts, if you like to. You don't have to, but it's just something I feel that could be necessary to talk about, because we all know the last time we did this, it was a disastrous stream and everybody else jumped all around in, and it was like a downward spiral with a lot of former friends of mine who were devastated, if you can remember. Hopefully, this time, this victory that we've got, that our nation finally got is something that can put us on the right direction and hopefully bring some more recognition to a lot of things that many of us may not have remembered or whatever the case may be. Oh, hey guys, we just got a message here. Sorry, hang on a second. I'll be right with you guys. I've just got a message. Like I said before, man, this is very, very good. And we're still celebrating right now. Even over there right now in Birmingham, right now, 10 miles from where I'm sitting right now, they're still celebrating like crazy. You know, to be quite honest, I think this will be the day that England found a new recognition for the feminine side of footballing. And I'm so proud I'll be actually, to be admit this, I'm actually going to support this for this point on as example, because I think in a lot of ways, I'm going to say this very honestly, I think female sports, especially in football or soccer or whatever you guys want to call it, has been very, very underrated. But this is finally the time that they finally have done it. At least from what I can tell, because I've never once watched one until what happened recently, from yesterday when we did the unthinkable. Julian Pye, I don't know what your problem is, pal, but I think you're a little bit off the hook. So might as well skedaddle, pal. You're out of it. I do humbly apologise for that, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that guy was definitely being a bit of a pain in the rear. He was definitely trying to stir something up and he wasn't going to get it. Hey there, Girl Winston. If you want to come in, there's a bit of a link here for you guys if you want to join in. Here you go, guys. Join in and make yourself at home if you want to join in. Everything's going pretty well, Gamer Dan 63. We recently won the championship in the Commonwealth Games, for England. We faced Germany and they did it. We won by 2-1 and it was fantastic. The women of England have set the benchmark, and all I've got to say that this was a victory that we could have had last year in the men's. But as you know, last year was the disastrous time for us, and we all never took it well. I, for one, took it extremely hard, if you can remember. But for this time, the opposite gender finally broke the glass ceiling, and we won it. And we took the title home right back here on British soil. And I'm very proud. Like I said this before, I can't say this enough. This has really had a very positive impact. It's the first time in 20 years since we've ever had this. According to what I'm hearing. And I think everybody around the globe might want to take this on board, to prove that women are just as amazingly equally and perhaps even better than we men ever could dream of being. If you think about it, I mean, we see this happen in other films. We've seen it like in DC and Marvel. I mean, we've seen it in the anime series. We see it in every part. They all make the opposite gender just as badass than we men could ever be, in a very unusual way. I mean, I know we've made a lot of cool heroes and that stuff, but in a strange twist, this has definitely become like the dominant era for all females on this planet. They've set the benchmark and know what they're going to do. And I'm really glad to know that they're making a good rise and a big stand to show just what they're capable of doing. Our team today, and last night before when they did it, when no one thought it could be done, they did it. They finally got a victory for our nation that we can be very, very happy for. And I'll say that, that's why I've got my, my Union Jack thing on. Feeling a little bit patriotic about the victory as well, so I'm pretty sure you can understand why. um, like I said, England finally did it. I mean, the women of the Empire definitely did it, man. You girls deserved it. Even though, like I said, I'm not really a fan of the whole thing anymore, I just can't help but lend my support and, raise my can of Coca-Cola for you. So this celebration is on my behalf and for everybody else here who are watching live here tonight on this broadcasting. Here's to you, England, and the women of the team who brought it home. God bless you. And for that, this ends this short broadcasting celebration. For those of you who actually have seen it today, just to let you know that on this day, or the night before, or whatever you want to call it on, this was the day England finally got the victory they deserved. To you guys.